Okay, so like I said, I'm also getting a hint of spice to this,
Yeah.
not caliente spice,
Yeah.
getting a nice little
Right.
floral spice. What's that about?
Well, you know, it's got 11 different
Herbs and spices.
herbs and spices in here. And the juniper is probably the most predominant, and there is a licorice root. It almost gives it, if you wait for the aftertaste, there's a little earthiness to this drink that I really like.
Yes.
But I also like, you know, Lefroy Scotch, which is like, yeah, like major smoky and peaty and
Yeah.
I could eat just a handful of
Really?
peat.
Yeah, that one, oh, Lefroy's a bit much for me. The other one here, our friend Vic, every time it's like his birthday, we'll usually go in because it's a little bit more expensive and get him some Lagavulin
Oh yeah.
scotch on
Oh,
there.
you bet.
And that one's one.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's good scotch.
Oh yeah.
I don't like scotch.
Well, you know, on the Isle of Islay, where Lagavulin and Lefroy and all the others, of the 10 distilleries there, 9 of them are in the, 8 of them are in the top 10 in the world, just on that island.
That's amazing.
I know. It's crazy.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, man, this one's making me a little burpy.
yeah. Yeah.
But everything does.
Gets you a little bit.
Yeah, you get to taste it twice. Yeah. Come on.
And it's always good.
Tastes better the second time around, huh? Yeah.
All right, so also while we're moving on here,
Okay.
apparently it seems like there are a lot of lines between beverages have been blurred lately, between ciders, lemonades, shandies, spritzers,
Yeah.
lambics, etc. What separates a cider, and in my opinion, why is that still the go-to out of all those?
Okay. So to be considered a cider, you've got to have your base a fermented apple juice. That's it. Everything else, you know, from seltzers to spritzers, you know, you might be, you know, back flavoring it with a some vodka tincture that gives it the flavor, or you know, the beer might be, you know, mixing a grapefruit, some kind of grapefruit flavor with the beer. But cider, to be considered cider, it has got to have the base as fermented apple juice.
Okay.
And when we say cider, it is fermented. If you're going to talk apple juice, you've got to say apple juice. If you say, yeah, I had a cider, then it's a hard cider. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fermented. So anyways, yeah.
That's interesting. And I guess I should have mentioned this before. The first cider that we tried, the Semisweet,
Yeah.
I could have probably just straight chugged that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
This one I don't feel like chugging. It definitely
No.
seems a little bit more just
Yeah.
slow sip and enjoy it.
Yeah, you know, it's almost cocktail-like.
Yeah.
You know, where
Like-
so if you want to quench your thirst and have a couple pints fast, go for the semi-dry or the semi-sweet, just plain apple, all apple cider. If you want to just sit and you're sitting with a nice gal or something, you know, and you get a pint of this, and it'll last 45 minutes, where the other two would have lasted a half an hour.
And then you're going to start to look
You
a fool.
spend more time with her, you know? Yeah, so, but yeah, it is. It's a very
So this is
slow
when you want to
sipping.
class it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I sometimes when I first tasted that, I thought, you know, did I? And then I finished and I thought, did I just have a gin and tonic? Did I just have a taste of a gin and tonic, you know, or whatever? So, but yeah, I like that cider.
No, it's very good.
Yeah.
It is very
it's
good.
different.
But
It's so different.
I noticed, and it's like I said, I'm drinking it a lot slower than the other one, and mostly, again, not that I couldn't chug this because I can chug anything, but I like every time you sip it, you kind of just like want to sit there and take in
Yeah.
all the complexities it has to offer.
Yeah. Too bad we do everything in bottles, so you can't shoot any of our ciders.
That's true.
Yeah, too bad. Oh,
That
well.
would be difficult, especially with that skinny neck.
Yeah. Yeah, bite that off. Yeah.
Did you
I
guys
know.
recently change the types of bottles you use from
We
the traditional
did.
bomber?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason was that the company in that we were getting it from before, it was from the UK and Germany actually, because they're the only bottles that could handle our pasteurization process, the temperatures. Otherwise, a lot of the Chinese bottles that we got to start with, made in China, were breaking in the
Oh.
pasteurizer. Couldn't handle 140-degree heat for 35 minutes. So, and all the ones that we got from the Germany, UK, they were fantastic. They didn't break in the pasteurizer. They didn't, break on the bottling line. And then that company went belly up. And so we ended up getting these bottles out of Quebec.
Okay.
And so they've been fantastic on the bottling line.
Well,
So-
what I like about it is it stands out because if you're looking at, like, say, you're at a your Albertsons or Co-op or whatever, and you see bomber, this is going to have a little bit different shape,
Yeah.
which is I think automatically going to kind of draw the eye to it. So
Yeah.
I think it's smart marketing personally.
yeah.
But I did notice that, and I wonder that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. Cool.
Yeah.
So far, with our last cider, the gin and juice, I love that mouthfeel, man. Just the
know.
pucker right here, the back of my cheek,
Yeah.
and just like the bottom of my tongue.
And you can still feel it after,
Most
a
definitely.
few minutes. You still have that nice flavor in your mouth. I love that.
But it's a pleasant one because there's
Yeah.
sometimes where you get it where it's like lingering, and you're
Yeah.
like, just give me some water, give me something
Yeah.
to flush this through.
Yeah.
This is a very pleasant
yeah.
stay there.
Yeah.
Doesn't overstay its welcome, but it does stay for a nice conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It
Now-
gives you a good breath.
It
Yeah,
does. It does.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great way to put it. Now, are
like a
there any
mouthwash.
particular fruits that are harder to use than others?
That's a great
Which
question.
one's a big B, man?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you what, our biggest seller is our blackberry cider.
As well it should be. I tell everyone, I was like, I'm not a huge cider fan. If you're going to get cider, you got to get Meriwether. And if you pick one, that blackberry boom, baby.
2-to-1, our biggest seller, but it's a hard one to make because when we carbonate that, for some reason the blackberry binds with that CO2 and it is released, and so it's a real tough one to bottle because of the it foams so badly. Whereas we have other fruits that, like we just did one onto the peach, and the peach hardly foams at all. So yeah, fruits do make a difference, and we know which ones cause us trouble in the carbonation process. We carbonate it to the same volume of CO2, but when we get to the bottling line to bottle it, when it's filling, it foams more than others. And yeah, the blackberry's real tough to deal with. Peach is great. But that's a good question. And every time we deal with another fruit, mango's pretty good. There's another bad one I'm trying to think of right now, but I can't think of it. You have to be careful.
You ever tried durian? Durian fruit?
It's that real stinky fruit. The shit
From
has that
Southeast
spiked
Asia?
outer shell with it. Yeah, from
No.
Southeast Asia. It's notoriously one of the stinkiest fruits of all time,
So
but
good,
apparently
though.
it's delicious.
So
Oh
good,
my God!
yeah.
Well, we are so into trying different stuff, and we have something called Kick the Keg every week that people can come in. We do a 6-barrel, so 5 gallons of it's brewer's choice or cider maker's choice, and we make these funky ciders there, and we make some that we know will be really good too. And I don't know, some of the funky ones I like, but we will have to check into that. I need to see
Go to
where
the
you
Asian
get
market,
that?
I was
bro.
gonna say,
Go to
can
the
you
Asian
get-
market. Yeah.
Asian
At the
market
Asian
has
market?
it?
Okay.
Is it something I can crush and press?
I would say closer to like a mango, a real thick, meaty fruit.
Yeah, stringier. Yeah.
Stringier, kind of like a mango.
Does it have a
sort
big
of thing.
seed or anything I have to deal with if I?
I think the seed's in the middle. Am I?
Ah.
So if you can't hear our producer Coral, it comes out in soft chunks, very similar to banana.
And so, yeah, I'll have to check that out. So, how do you spell that?
I think it's Durian,
phonetically.
just
As
like
it sounds.
phonetically, as it sounds.
Okay.
Yeah. What about like
yeah.
a boysenberry or a marionberry? Have you guys done anything with that?
Yeah, we've done like a black currant.
Okay. Oh, okay.
We do
like a superhero.
huckleberry every year. We forage.
Got to. You're in Idaho,
Oh,
baby.
I know. Oh my God! In Idaho, you kidding me? The first year I made a huckleberry cider, we foraged all these huckleberries, and I made a. I don't mess around. It's going to be like a pound of huckleberries to a gallon of cider. So, if my label says it's huckleberry cider, you better be tasting a lot of huckleberry, right? And so, I made this huckleberry cider and didn't know about Idaho's thing with huckleberries. And a half an hour before we were going to open for the, huckleberry cider that was being released that day, there was a line out the door that was 50 meters long. And it was crazy. It was gone in a half barrel, so 15.5 gallons the first year I made it. It was gone in less than 2 hours.
Wow.
I mean, that's 140 pints.
That's amazing.
I know. Well, the Idahoans are crazy.
It's
They're
true.
and it's a good crazy.
It is a good
It's
crazy.
a good crazy.
Yeah, pardon
It-
my language.
yeah,
When it comes to Idaho, we don't fuck around with
No.
our huckleberry.
No, no. Huckleberries are it.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
the real deal,
Yeah,
man.
it is the real
That's
deal.
amazing. I love
so,
that.
and this year, our huckleberry is probably going to be coming out this week. And it's a little, this time it's a little under a pound a gallon. But it's good. Yeah.
gallon.
We foraged for some huckleberries up in the St. Joe River area, up in northern Idaho. And then my daughter did some in Cascade, got it some in Cascade, and then High Valley. So it's delicious. It's really delicious.
That's amazing.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Next question then.
Yeah.
So, what is a hopped cider,
All right.
and what is the heirloom cider?
Okay.
Transitioning nicely into our
That's
next
a hop
beverage.
cider.
This is a hop cider.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'm really
Almost
I'm
smells
fa-
like a beer.
I'm
Almost.
I'm a fairly humble guy. I'm not into bragging type stuff, but
I heard that. By far the most humblest. Number one at the top of the humble list.
But this cider, I think I did get that one year. Yeah, but this cider, we entered it into an international competition because I wanted to get some feedback from the judges, and it's the biggest international cider competition in the world, and it won it.
I believe it.
So you are drinking 2019 number one in the world hop cider.
Cheers.
Cheers on that. Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Hell
yeah.
yeah. And I can tell it. First sip, I'm like, this is my favorite so far.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
And so it's all dry hopped, so you don't get any of the bitterness. There's because you get that isomerization when you boil the wort and you put your hops in there. That isomerizes those resins in there and releases the bitterness. If you don't boil it, it's just going to release flavor and aroma.
Okay.
And so that's where you get that people that dry hop their beers, you get that wonderful aroma, in the beer. And towards the end of my brewing, I always dry hopped, just because I love the aromas and flavor go so well together. Your taste and
Well, that's one thing that, and I think that's great because a lot of people that don't drink beer, it will be typically because it was traditional hopped. It's not dry hop, so it is bitter. It's danky in all the wrong ways for certain people. I personally love it, but it is a turnoff for a lot of people. And ain't nobody don't like a dry hop.
Yeah.
At least nobody I want to hang out with.
And even if you do the boil and you then dry hop, that dry hop and that aroma does balance out some of that harshness that you might get from a real bitter hop boil. So I really like it. I think we use a Citra and a Cascade hops in this.
Okay.
And I use them at different times. I put them in different times while it's sitting. probably takes us about 10 days to dry hop a cider.
I think if you gave me some guesses, I probably could have guessed Citra. I don't know
Yeah,
about
you
the
would have guessed
Cascade, though,
Citra.
but I think
Yeah.
I'd have guessed the
Yeah.
Citra for
Yeah.
sure.
This-
Very distinct.
Yeah, we use a
flavor.
little bit more Citra than we do the Cascade. The Cascade I put in last, only the last 2 days of it, and that lends a little bit of aroma and yeah, to it. So
This tastes like work's gonna suck tomorrow.
yeah.
So far 3 for 3. We are 6.9, 6.9, and 6.9 giggity. Is there any reason behind that where we all just happen to be at that nice 6.9%?
Well, it just so happens that when we get our apple juice, it's at a sugar content when it is fermented all the way down, it comes to about 6.97%. And when we maybe back sweeten with a little something, that dilutes it a little bit and then brings it down into that 6.9 area. And it just so happens that the higher tax, that you have to pay on your cider is 7% or more. Isn't that funny?
That is so weird.
How that happens.
So,
But it's just,
convenient.
it's good. Yeah. The apple trees are on our side.
There we go.
You
huh?
know? Yeah. So I like that.
I wonder who made that decision. Like, nope, 7%. You got to tax it
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And then there's a champagne
stupid.
tax over a certain, when you get even higher than that, then it's even more. But I'm not gonna, it's okay. It's yeah. The next cider that we're probably gonna drink we're in the higher tax.
All right, now we're
Tax
paying a little
group, yeah.
extra for
Fancy.
this
So
one.
yeah. But
I had no
anyways,
idea you'd have to pay a higher tax.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense, right? Does it? No, I don't know.
No,
Nothing makes
no.
sense to me
I don't know.
anymore.
No.
But
No. Well,
Interesting.
a lot of the alcohol, the laws, with alcohol are so antiquated.
they really are.
Ah, they're so, they need to update.
They really
you know,
are.
yeah.
Absolutely. So I just thought of this one. So I also learned on this podcast a few interviews ago. Apparently, you can only have 2 tap rooms if you're a brewery. Is it the same as a
Same.
cidery or winery
Yep,
or
same.
anything like that?
Yep.
Just 2.
Yeah, just 2. Yeah, unless we go into another state.
That seems kind of anti-capitalist to
Yeah.
me. But
Now, what we could do is we could get another umbrella
okay.
company, I suspect, and just open up a whole nother thing, and then start another. We wouldn't be able to call it Meriwether
What's
Cider.
Clark's first name?
Oh yeah,
Greg? Greg
No.
Cider? I don't know.
maybe it'll be Pocahontas.
There you go,
Cider,
Sacagawea.
She was with him, so Sacagawea, yeah, Sacagawea,
There we go.
yeah.
Interesting.
Pocahontas. I can't believe I said that.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
So do you guys? So I know you get your apples kind of from all over the Northwest.
Right.
Do you have a straight up Idaho cider?
Oh, yeah, we've done a couple. We have a guy that has a mobile, what does he call it? He goes into orchards and they'll put the apples in his crusher, presser, and it'll just juice right into a tote for the apple juice, and right in the orchard itself. And we buy from him. Let's see. We also do a neighborhood series. This is sort of a kids thing where we will get people from all over Boise to bring their apples in from their backyard. Now,
That's cool.
yeah, cider apples don't have to be, clean, crisp. They can be wormy, whatever, it adds a little protein, no, but not really. But anyways, it's, so what we do is I have a crusher and a presser. And so we'll press this apple juice and the kids will come. And so they'll come and we teach them, you got to wash the apples first and then you can put it in the crusher, and they'll do it, and then they'll come and they'll turn the crank to make the press, press the apples. And we call it the neighborhood crush. And I'll never forget this one little kid. He's like sitting there by the place after the apple juice is all made, and he's got his little. We give him a little cup with their name on it, and he's going, "Hey, Joey, come over here, man. It's free apple juice. We made it." Turning the little crank and getting his little apple juice to drink. And anyways, it's a wonderful. Yeah, it's a great thing. And we couldn't do it this year because of COVID and unfortunately, but the kids love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite days at the cidery. So,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, it is.
Hopefully that gets to come back soon.
Yeah.
Is there any, well, I'd say maybe the blackberry one, I think you might have answered that. Is that the most labor-intensive cider you guys make? Or maybe, like, it's going to be hard to get these ingredients?
No.
Okay.
The blackberry's not so bad. The ones that are really labor-intensive are the ones where we get the actual fruit, and we've got to crush it, and we've got to juice it, and we've got to, like even our ginger cider, we've got to peel all the, 14 pounds of ginger, and then we have to juice it all, and then we have to filter that ginger a little bit, so that we don't get so much sediment on the bottom. And but the blackberry's not so bad.
Okay.
That's not so bad. But we do have, some ciders where anytime we have fruit, we have to get rid of the seed, and then we have to grind it and press it and get the juice. That's tender loving care, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody in our, from my assistant cider maker, Justin Sims, who's just fantastic. He's always on the same page as me, it seems like. Get along really well. He does a lot of that, and he does a great job with it. But but it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, is there like a particularly weird cider you've made?
oh boy,
Some mad scientist cider?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, how about peanut butter and jelly?
Okay.
Never thought of it. So.
Yeah. So I didn't particularly like it, but we had people, because we always do a little taste test with our the people that come into our cidery, and they taste it, and some of them really liked it, but I didn't like it that
Describe
much.
that peanut butter in there, though.
Well, we got a powdered peanut butter, and we had jam, and I mixed the jam with some vodka, and then put the peanut butter in the vodka, and then filtered it, and got a tincture that tasted like peanut butter and jelly, and then added that to the cider, and that's what it was. We added a little bit of additional apple juice to that to bring up the sweetness, for the peanut butter and jelly, but yeah.
Interesting. That
Yeah.
would be a weird one. Till
It
we
was.
get that
Yeah.
durian one, that's going to be
I know.
real
I've got to
weird.
try that. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to that.
Right on.
I'm looking forward to that.
Is the main way, because you said it took you a few mistakes to kind of get your cider process down. Was it, when you knew it was bad, was it just immediately the smell?
Oh,
or
yeah.
sometimes were you like, it smells good, and then you taste it, and you're like,
No, smell.
the smell for
oh,
sure?
the smell. Oh,
that
yeah,
cowboy crotch?
Yeah. Bad. Or rotten egg,
Or rotten
one or
egg.
the other, yeah. Maybe both.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But anyway.
Well, did the cowboy crotch taste good at least?
Negative.
No, there's not a market out there for people for
Yeah,
a
it
cowboy
wasn't-
crotch. Okay.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good, but
There's
yeah.
something for everybody, man.
Yeah. Hey,
And our friend Will would like to know, is a mint cider possible? Sure, anything's possible.
oh, sure. Yeah, you can make a mint tincture.
Okay.
We can take dry mint leaves with vodka and then add that, and it's actually pretty delicious. We've done mint with watermelon.
Ooh, I would like
yeah,
that.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. So, but anyways.
I like a nice watermelon additive. Easy for me to say. So, you've never had a cider. You're
Okay.
intrigued in it. You want to get into hard cider rather. What would you recommend as like, how would you, the best way to get into ciders? Because if somebody wants to get into beer, I'm not like, yeah, just fucking grab a beer. Excuse me, just frickin' grab a beer. So it's like, man, I want to get into ciders, but some of them kind of make me nervous. Where should I start?
I would say the fruity ciders,
Mm-hmm.
like probably the blackberry. And then you want to go to the straight apple and just say, this is traditional, like the first cider that we had, the strong arm. So,
Okay. And that I would agree. If you
Yeah.
want to try one, that seems like
Yeah.
an absolutely phenomenal one to get
Yeah.
into. So, all right, well, we're going to take a quick restroom break, and we'll be right back.
All right.